Hey guys, welcome to another session of Loadouts. This loadout video is for Scorn of the Two-Headed Dragon. This is the team that I went in with for my victory. I was quite confident with the team setup even going in, so I'm just going to explain why these units, the espers, and also the equipment. So as you can see the party here, I'm going to go into the equipment deep dive, and I'm going to try to give you guys some tips. So make sure you have a single target provoker that has also single target death resistance, and the easiest way for me to do that was my Warrior of Light here, Sword Breaker, at Assassin's Vest, and Protect Grappler G3, two of them. The reason why I didn't go with the Ring of the Lucii is because of the counter. I believe, and I can't confirm this 100%, but I didn't want to risk it. I believe if you countered with Holy and hit the Two-Headed Dragon before you break him, he'll counter your team. It's an AoE physical attack wipe, and you're going to want a magic cover AoE. And since you can't cover both the physical and magical, it was just like not a smart way to go. So for single target tanks, provoke tanks, I would say either you have a 7-star Wilhelm or a tank that's extremely beefy. I don't even know what can survive it. Maybe a White Knight Noel because of his damage mitigation. But either that, or you have to go with an evasion tank again. One of the things is that he breaks himself every time you damage him with an Esper. So either you cast Odin or Bahamut. I do believe elemental Espers actually work as well, but it does have to be damaging. So it can't be Carbuncle that casts Reflect. It can't be Lakshmi that heals your team. It can't be Golem that causes damage mitigation. So make sure you have someone that can evoke really quickly and also damage him. The reason why I said the elemental damage worked is because I recall in my JP encounter I did use Ifrit, and it did work. So I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you guys shouldn't risk it. What I did for this trial was use Bahamut over and over though. It was consistent, and it was just safe. So one of the things is that he also does a lot of basically all status ailments. So you want to make sure you either have status ailment buffs for the entire team, or you want to have everyone being able to prevent status ailments. The only one I couldn't prevent on Warrior of Light was disease, which didn't really matter because disease doesn't really affect him for the way I use it. I used the Moogle Crown for stone resist, and anti-disaster for every other resistance status ailment. And then because with Genji's shield prevents single target death, I did go with Quick Assault, True Spirit of Freedom, and Quick Assault. And because Moogle Crown removes my Raven's Cap, which has a 5% evasion, I went with a True Spirit of Freedom for 15%. That gives me a total of 100%. So Warrior of Light built this way was completely solid. I don't think he took any damage at all because of his 100% evasion. My Zargaboth here was pretty much just our buffer, and he did use some LB and damage mitigation, even though I would say mistakenly. Another thing that was really important, it was this Rejuvenate Enhanced, which fills MP, which I needed a lot actually. I needed it, I think, for Leela and Warrior of Light in a couple turns, and also single target re-raise for 4 turns, which is really good. Overall, I was really satisfied with his performance, obviously. And another thing you had to do was prevent stop. So Arcadian Light Enhanced would buff up your entire team 100%, attack, defense, magic, and spirit, but also boosts paralysis and stop resistance. And what I had for him was obviously Ribbon here for all status protection, as you can see, Sledgehammer for more HP. And he has passives, I think, towards his MP if he equips with Hammer, and Katana. That's why I went with these 2 weapons here. Grand Helm and Grand Armor for more HP, and Ash's Ring for more magic, or more MP rather. Dual cast I had on him because I had Phoenix as an Esper, which had Raise. So in case I was, you know, in a pickle, I was able to dual cast Raise with him if Aiko wasn't able to do it on the turn I needed to, but we didn't need to use it. I used the Renewal, Resolve, and Great Mage's Chant to make sure that he never runs out of MP. One of the biggest problems with Zargaboth is that his MP is a big issue, and I didn't want to rejuvenate himself when I can use it to rejuvenate others. So I don't think I ran into any MP issues at all, even though I spammed like 100 MP skills over and over. At 384 MP, I was able to self-fill MP all the way at the very end. For Aiko here, obviously all status ailment protection. She has an innate 30% status ailment protection, and with Mog's Ribbon, this gives 70% status ailment protection for everything. So with her, it's like a free ribbon. She gets 100% without actually needing the ribbon. I gave her high spirit and high HP because I needed her to actually survive, and she did well, even though she did die when she was AoE thrusted by Two-Headed Dragon's Thresholds. So his threshold skill is AoE physical attack. There's no escaping it. Holy Wand, because I wanted her to be able to actually use Holy as a magical finisher is one of the missions. Jake's Pirate Ring for more HP, and also Pirate's Soul, which has a LB fill rate and LB fill per turn. I did White Blessing here and Ignorance for LB fill per turn, Mog Wisdom for LB fill rate, and Mood Maker, whenever she died, she has a 200% LB fill rate to herself. And for every off turn, I just pretty much kept using Passion. Is it Passion Performance or Crypto Performance? Let's see here, double check so I don't get it wrong. Passion Performance to fill LB gauge. So she gets her LB really quick. Every time she can use her LB, she can fill the Esper gauge, and we try to lock the Two-Headed Dragon in that. Leela here, I went with neutral elemental weapons, and so originally I thought going neutral elemental weapons was the better way to go, since I was gonna plan to use Leela's to auto attack to get more LB crystals for Aiko or Esper orbs. But at the very end, so two guys on stream, Midnight and Trixie, they were saying, or Trickster rather, they were saying that I should imbue myself, because every time you break him after doing Esper damage, he does a 300% elemental imperial to himself. So it really saved my time. So thanks to those guys, because I thought that the way I was doing it was actually quicker, but eventually I did, I think, yeah, three times more damage with the elemental imbue. So that's something to note. Potentially you could go with Leela's with Holy Wand instead, so more spirit, and just go Holy Elemental if you go with this build. Obviously I did go with Hairpin to Purity here again for all status ailment protection. I think you guys kind of get the idea. Dragon Killer Plus and Sildra's Protection, which does a 50% physical damage more to dragon and aquatic monsters, so Aquan, which is a really good TMR. This comes from a 3-star base TMR, and of course this stacks with regular Dragon Killer as well. One thing to note as well, I was doing this build with PMA yesterday on the damage calculator and on the builder. So I originally swapped this out because she can equip spears. I swapped this out for Roberta's or even Dragon's Whisker. So anything with the spear, you drop in about 100 spirit, but you get 50% more Dragon Killer. And we did the damage calculation, and it turns out that you actually benefit more from going with the spirit, like high spirit, but with enough Dragon Killer. So that's why we swapped it out. Otherwise, that is something to note, that she could equip spears with Dragon Killer in it if you're running low on Dragon Killer. So make sure you have at least about, I think this ends up to be about 175% Dragon Killer, because we have Odin on as the Esper with 50% Dragon Killer. This is my undercover sin, which is PMA says I'm famous. Yes, you're famous, dude. This is my Bosch, which took no magical damage. So what you wanted to go into was, I think it was ice, lightning, dark, and light resist 160%. I just went and went all out, and like, why not? It was just easier to build for me, so I just went with all elemental resistance by 160%. So this is the gear I went with. Ulrich's Kukri, even though it doesn't say, because it's elemental attack, it actually does have elemental resistance, so make sure you keep that in mind. This was from the Kingsglaive event. If you played that one, you would have it. Askew-chan here for 15% more HP. This is Ramza's STMR for 20% all elemental protection, but you could very well go with that impervious shield from the Torturous Trio. The reward from that, it's the same thing pretty much without the 15% HP. Judge's Helm for 15% all elemental resistance, and Rainbow Robe for 30%, Sorcerer's Cape for 10%, and Angel Earring for 50% dark. This is what I was missing because Judge's Helm doesn't cover dark, nor does Rainbow Robe. So Angel Earring came in handy, and that's why I had a little weird number at the very end there, 165%. For abilities, I went with a 3 Magic Sanctuary. That gives me 75% all elemental protection, and I went with Discernment because this is the only one I had for all status ailment protection, and that's what I went with. And yes, make sure you have a chaining partner. I would say Leela at the moment. If you're not in 7-star damage meta, you probably want to go with Leela. I don't know if anyone can be stronger than Leela. Perhaps Victor Marchenko with fixed dice, like 2 Victor Marchenko fixed dice, that could do enough damage, I suppose. Yeah, if you have Leela's, I think she's the way to go. Right now, she's the 7-star unit without the 7-star meta. Everything else I've explained. So yeah, Bahamut on Bosch. So all he had to really do was rotate his magic cover and evoke Bahamut. Magic cover, evoke Bahamut. Warrior of Light just had to make sure his provoke was up. Every 3 turns, he dispels you with the thing called, I think it's called Dispel Bite. It dispels your single target tank, so you want to make sure your provoke is up every time he dispels that tank. So I just had to provoke up. And yeah, I think that's all the tips I can give you guys, and that's basically all I went with on this loadouts video. So yes, so let's end this here. So yeah, so make sure you guys check out that trial video to see how long that trial took me. Just make sure you are prepared for his threshold. If you have the same evasion provoke tank with single target prevention, you have the same kind of level of magic tank with all status, all elemental resistance. Maybe you want to go with I don't know, just prepare yourself for the AoE re-raise, just in case, or yeah, re-raise, single target re-raise all the units ready when you hit that threshold. One of the things I do want to mention is why Bosch made the appearance is because even though I like Awaken Rain as a magic tank, I would say Bosch is MVP on this one because Bosch can equip robes, right? Rain can't. So Rain was actually lacking a bit of elemental resistance. So something to consider. Obviously, I might not have all the equipment I needed to build Rain for 160% all elemental resistance. And like I said, you don't need all of them. You only need Ice, Lightning, Light, and Dark. So it should be much easier. Don't be scared of my gear there. Anyways, we're gonna end off this here. Make sure you guys check out that trial video. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.